Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Metal Gladiator podcast. My name is Ian Sylvain. I am the Metal Gladiator. I'm joined here by a special guest. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Nathaniel from Film and Thespian on YouTube.
Indeed. His link will be in the description as well as his Twitch channel, because he's got Twitch as well. So
I do have Twitch, and I stream sometimes.
yeah, sometimes. Once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
So,
well, I have a new game that I'm really wanting to play, so I'm probably going to do it weekly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Hopefully, if I can find the time to do it.
That'll be nice. So, the plan today, well, since Nathaniel is the guest and he got to pick the layout of this podcast, I'm going to go ahead and let him go through what we're doing.
Okay. So we're going to talk about Dream Theater's most recent album, Distance Over Time, and then we're going to go through 21 Pilots' discography, excluding can't remember the name of it, but it's out of print because of the label they signed or something.
Regional at best, I think.
Regional at best, yeah. We're excluding that because it's out of print, but so we're not really counting it.
Yeah.
And then we're going through our top 10 list of 21 Pilots songs.
All right. In for a treat. This is going to be a special podcast. Well, they're all special. So, Distance Over Time by Dream Theater. This album was released 2019, wasn't it? I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know about it at all until I went home for Christmas. And I think it was Christmas. I went home at some point. And I was hanging out with some friends at the mall, and we went into FYE, and I just saw it sitting there on the shelf, and I was like, what? Dream Theater released a new album? And I bought it immediately.
All right, yeah. I actually remember it was 2019, because that's when I took a trip, the summer trip down there, and I was showing you guys, you and Ben, the single from it, Untethered Angel.
Yeah.
So that was 2019. About a year ago now. So, this album is, I wouldn't say different. Like, it's still Dream Theater. It's obviously Dream Theater. Yeah. It's got Dream Theater written all over it. Figuratively in literature. But, like,
yeah, but they're like, the sound is it's a little different from what Dream Theater sounds like. Like, it sounds more like classic metal, I guess, rather than like, well, when I say classic metal, I mean like metal from the 80s.
Yeah.
Rather than more power metal-y.
Yeah.
But it still has some of that, like, yeah, like you said, it's very it's still got Dream Theater written all over it. It's still very Dream Theater.
Yeah. I gotta say, I was pretty impressed with the production of the album. I thought it was well put together. And apparently they did something with the cymbals for the drums, of how they were like recorded in like a different room or something. I'm not entirely sure with the specifics on that. But it was like, from what I can tell, it was almost like the regular drums were just recorded, and then the cymbals were almost recorded like separately, but they still kind of like put them together. And I mean, not to the point that it's like, oh, Bean can actually play this, because they got like 6 cymbals going at once, and you got like 5 drums going at once. It wasn't anything like that. Although there was one point, I can't even remember what song it was, but there was one point that had like a little hi-hat in there, and I'm just like, it wasn't a hi-hat, it was something else, and I'm just like thinking, Okay, I'd like to see video footage of that because I don't think Mike Mangini could actually play that. I don't think any drummer could actually play that. But it was like split second, and I'm just like, that's iffy. That's very iffy. But production wise, that was like the only thing that was like a flaw with it. But other than that, the production was fantastic, I think.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's very clean sounding. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about the opening track or the single from the album, Untethered Angel. I really enjoyed this album when it first came out.
I really enjoyed this song a lot. Like, it's probably my top. I really can't decide if it's my favorite or like my second favorite. But it's definitely one of the best songs on the album. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I've got to like it's very well crafted.
mm-hmm.
I think it has a great intro. The intro really stuck with me of how like the chords, the arpeggios of the chords, at the beginning, and then it goes into that heavy riff that's just like hits you in the face.
Yeah.
That riff's awesome. It's a blast to play. But honestly, I'm not like dissing the bridge or like the solo section, but I honestly kind of thought it was the most lackluster part of the song. It's still very good. Like it still fit. I didn't think any part of the song was, you know, like the song is good as a whole. But I just kind of felt like it started like after the second chorus, it was kind of started to get like almost like lackluster, or just kind of like started to uninterest me or something.
It's kind of repetitive.
Yeah, you say that, but I don't know. I think just this album in general, I wasn't like I wouldn't say impressed because I'm definitely impressed by pretty much every time John Petrucci picks up the guitar. But like, I wasn't intrigued with the solo work on this album. It was kind of like, especially when you compare it to other Dream Theater work or just John Petrucci.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it still felt like John Petrucci. I mean, he's always writing really good solos. There's just something about this album that I don't know. It might have just been a bit. It might have just felt a little out of place with me because of how much he used the bottom string and like the string guitar and stuff. Because he pretty much used that constantly, which I mean he kind of does anyway. But like it was just like always so heavy and chuggy with the album that the solos just felt so high, and it was just kind of like, ooh, that's that's probably what kind of threw me off a little bit with the album, and why I'm not too crazy about the solo sections, but they were still very good.
Yeah. I really like this album. I mean, compared to Dream Theater's other stuff, I feel like it's almost incomparable just because like the music style's different, and it feels like it feels different from their other work, because this is another one where it's like, I know they've done this in the past where like every song is like a regular length song for like a metal song, like 5 minutes,
Yeah,
6 minutes. So but like it's also one of their shortest albums compare with, because like Black Cloud and Silver Linings has 6 songs It's an hour long, and
That thing's more than an hour long. It's like 90 minutes.
yeah, it's a long,
90
long.
Yeah.
But it's only got 6 songs, but this one is like 10 songs, and it's shorter, I think.
Oh yeah, it's
So
definitely shorter.
yeah, no, it's shorter. Because I can. It takes me about my car lost its ability to. Oh no! What happened was I switched from an iPhone 6s to an iPhone 8 Plus. So so then I had so what happened in between those two phones is that I could plug an aux cord into my iPhone 6s, but then when they transitioned to at some point in between there, they made it to where you can only listen to your music, your headphone jack, and your charging port were the exact same thing. So you couldn't listen to music and charge your phone at the same time unless you had an adapter. So I couldn't plug my aux cord into it for a long time. No, not a long time. For just a few days, because I had to order one of the adapters to listen to it and charge my phone at the same time.
Yeah.
And then so during that time, I listened to I almost said Untethered Angel, Distance Over Time, because I have the album. I just listened to that in my car, and I work for a delivery food. I deliver pizza for Pop John's, so I was just listening to that, and I could listen to that album in like roughly 5 or 6 times a day, depending on how busy we were. And then
Yeah.
and then I just was like, okay, after you listen to it 5 or 6 times a day, you're like, all right, I need to listen to something else.
Yeah.
So I switched over to Black Clouds and Silver Linings, also to kind of gauge how much longer I had at work, because I was like, okay, this album's about an hour long, so when I finish it, I've been driving for at least an hour.
Yeah.
So I switched over to that, and I could only get through it like twice, maybe, depending on how busy we were.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's quite the story.
yeah,
But yeah, that's like
that's
the difference there.
yeah.
Like Distance Over Time, I think barely makes the hour mark. Just barely. I think it's like an hour. It might be like a minute over an hour, but it's like it barely makes it.
Yeah,
And that might actually be, I might actually be
pushing it.
including the bonus track on there too.
That's
So
true.
it might not even make an hour. So yeah, I do want to say something. So ever since Mike Portnoy left, the drums have been kind of lackluster. This isn't saying anything bad about Mike Mangini. He's an amazing drummer. He just doesn't have the life that Mike Portnoy has. And when you've got this band that has the same drummer since the beginning for so long, it's something like that's just easily going to show.
Yeah.
But I still, the album right after he left, the first album with Mike Mangini, I still really liked. But I will say that Distance Over Time is Mike Mangini's best performance with Dream Theater. I love the drums on this album.
Yeah,
they were fantastic.
I remember you saying that the drums weren't as good after Mike Portnoy left. So when I got this album, I was like specifically listening for the drums. And I'm like, these drums are really good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just mine and Ian's different opinions, but I really like these drums.
Yeah. I mean, the album right after. I think it's called a dramatic turn of events. He did really good on that album. But then the album after that, I think it was like their self-titled album. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that album, honestly, and I still haven't heard the entire thing of the astonishing. But the little I've heard, he
I
pretty good.
I have heard. I went. I did go. I think there was one point where I was trying to listen to all their albums, which is a task. um, so I went and listened to all of the astonishing. That's the one with like the Dream Theater logo on the silver ball and just like sky.
Yeah, their
Like,
longest album by far was like 2 hours and 11 minutes.
yeah. But what's funny is that most of their songs are like normal length.
Yeah, no. Some songs were like 30 seconds in that thing.
There's just a lot of songs on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I did listen to that one, and I actually really liked that one a lot. Like, I wasn't sure if I was going to because Mike Portnoy left, and just I was kind of disappointed that all their songs were like regular lengths, and I was like, oh, okay. But I went and listened to it, and I was like, this is a really good album too. I really like this album.
But yeah, yeah, like I said earlier, there's just that one part that I was talking about that's kind of iffy with the drums, with the one cymbal there, but that didn't last very long. So, I mean, the drums were fantastic. You know, I really enjoyed them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can definitely tell the difference in style when you listen to Mike Portnoy and Mike Mangini.
Yeah.
So that's just the thing that took me so long to kind of like, I guess, kind of accept Mike Mangini as the drummer of Dream Theater, because again, like, Mike Portnoy was there for so long. He has such a unique style. Like, no one can match his kind of style. And it's just like, oh, okay, you got a different drummer, and it just feels like so different that it's just almost sucks, almost, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like, it's like, okay, I know this isn't bad, but it just sounds bad because of the style that I'm used to.
Yeah.
That's like, to give an example, that's like, I'm trying to think of an example. Okay, like Dave Mustaine in Megadeth. He's been the single since the beginning. Imagine some random opera singer started singing for Megadeth on the new album. It'd sound retarded. Like, that's the kind of feeling that I had with Mike Mangini at the very beginning, because he was just so used to the one, you know? That's the best example I could come up with. Not that I think an opera singer would ever be able to sing Megadeth like Dave Mustaine does. I would never accept that, but, you know, just an example.
So they obviously can sing well. It's just like weird for that type of genre and that type of. It's just weird.
Yeah, I definitely don't think Dave Mustaine's a good vocalist by any means, but his voice fits Megadeth perfectly.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to, since we're started talking about vocals, let's talk about vocals on this album.
I love his vocals. They're so good. Like, every time I listen to a Dream Theater anything, and like, I don't know, his vocals just hit me at just the right way every single time, and I love it.
Yeah.
I would actually say that this is one of throughout the entire album, this is one of some of his best vocal work. Because, well,
yeah,
I mean, because he does do a lot of like high singing, which I feel like it's not technically falsetto, and that's just impressive that he can go that high without switching into falsetto. and that's like one thing that I'm just like impressed by is that he can go because he's got not got he doesn't have like a low voice, but like he sings a lot lower in Black Cloud and Silver Linings for most of it. He doesn't go super high very often.
Yeah.
But in this one, he's like singing up there like most of the time, and and it's just impressive to me that he can do that.
Yeah. Vocals. James Libri has always been the big argument with the Dream Theater fan base. A lot of people don't like him. I don't know if you felt this, but it's like a huge division with the fan base about his vocals.
I can understand why.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those voices that I can hear why someone wouldn't really like it, but personally, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see both sides. I personally enjoy his vocals a lot. I think they fit Dream Theater very well.
Yeah.
He's a lot better than the first vocalist. Oh my gosh, the first Dream Theater album was that's a treat to listen to. Yeah,
but I feel like I can say kind of the same thing about Tyler Joseph from 21 Pilots, and this is going to be kind of out there. A lot of people watching probably won't even know who I'm talking about. Trevor McNevin from Thousand Foot Crutch. I feel like he's another voice that I can hear why someone wouldn't like his vocals, but personally I love it.
Yeah, like Trevor's vocals was one that had to grow on me, personally, because at first I was not a fan, but they definitely grew on me. So, I mean, in some ways, James Lebrie's vocals they might just grow on people, but sometimes it just doesn't. People just don't like it. But his vocal performance on this album, I would have to say, I mean, I think they're very good. After the, I guess in this era, the non-Mike Portnoy era, I guess we could call it, I wouldn't say it's the best. I actually prefer his vocal performance on A Dramatic Turn of Events, but they're still really good. And how do I explain this? I wouldn't. I don't know what I'm trying to say right now. It's kind of negative in a way, but like I want to make it clear that I really enjoyed his vocal performance in this album, but I kind of feel like he was staying safe with it. Like he was staying on the same kind of pitch throughout the album. Well, in other albums, he can kind of like, yeah, like he's been able to like change and stuff, like go high and then do like some lows. You know, I kind of wanted to.
Yeah, I can kind of see that because he wasn't switching a lot. Like he would be in both, but he wouldn't switch over a lot. He was staying in like really, really high or like kind of just in a regular place. He's like just kind of normal, like speaking tone level. I don't know what he sounds like when he speaks, but basically just like the most comfortable place you can be when you're singing. Like, there's probably a term for that. I don't know.
I do kind of feel like the only negative thing I can say about his vocal performance, even though I really enjoyed it, was he kind of played it safe. I'd say I think that's the best kind of term I could use. Is he just kind of played it safe, which I mean I can't say anything bad about, because I mean the dude is getting pretty old. I mean all these guys are getting in like their 50s, so I mean
that's true.
Stuff like the voice is definitely gonna start changing.
Yeah,
you know, you could just look at Bruce Dickinson's voice from Iron Maiden. Like there's no way he can sing like he used to.
Yeah.
But I mean, he can still sing.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say James LeBrie sounds like a model when he's talking in like interviews and stuff. He sounds like a model. That's the best way I can put it. Yeah, that's literally the best I got.
Gotcha.
So, guitar. We kind of touched on guitar a little bit, but of course, I was talking about his solos there. Honestly, the guitar work, especially the riffs, kind of give me the impression that John Petrucci just got his first 7-string guitar and he wants to use it. Pretty much all the riffs just kind of gave me that impression. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just kind of like, yeah, you're using a 7-string guitar. I get it. No offense to John Petrucci, 7 strings are awesome. I recently got one, so they're awesome. But yeah, I personally would have liked a bit more diversity on the guitar. But the performance wise, I mean, it's John Petrucci, so I mean, it's just
Good.
yeah, it's John Petrucci. That's
It's
what I
John-
say.
Good.
It's just John Petrucci. Although I think in terms of guitar, we can take Distance Over Time and move it down to whatever album he started 7-string on, and there would be no difference in the discography. Okay, joking aside though, great guitar work. The only thing that really bothered me was just kind of like the solo stuff. But yeah. Your thoughts on the guitar?
I don't know a whole lot about like technical stuff. People who know me know that I focus a lot on vocals and lyrics. That's like the strongest where I can talk about, and most of the stuff that I focus on when I'm listening to music. But I really enjoyed everything that I don't know. I just really enjoyed pretty much every aspect of it. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's up in like my top 3 or 4, maybe not even 5 Dream Theater albums. But I don't know. I really enjoyed everything about the album.
Yeah.
There's one song, I can't remember the name, can't remember which song it is, but it's stuck in my head right now. The solo in that is really good because it's not like a I said solo, but it's not solo. It's like a musical bridge, I guess is probably what it is.
Okay.
But it's got a bunch of strings. It's got a guitar. I'm pretty sure there's violin in it, and it's also got some vocals along with it, and it's it's good.
Violin.
I can't. Hold on. Let me.
Oh, jeez, I can't even. I was gonna. Okay, I was just gonna say like, let me try to. I'm gonna pick one song and see if it's the right song, but I can't even. Now I'm thinking I can't even think of violin. Was it
It's on the list so I can get it.
Pale Blue Dot? Maybe.
Maybe.
What was the other one? Because like the last two, not including the bonus track, the last two were like the longest songs on the album, and they were the ones that definitely impressed me the most. It was Pale Blue Dot, and now I'm drawing a blank on the name of the other one. I think it was only like one word.
I'm pulling up right now.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I'll also say that the bass was excellent. John Mayung is amazing, and keyboard was fantastic as well.
Yes.
I almost feel like Jordan Rudess is always doing something new with keyboard.
Was
What did you say?
Out of Reach.
Out of Reach. Oh, that makes much more sense. Okay, yeah. What was the song before that? Out of Reach.
At Wit's End.
At Wit's
That's
End.
9 minutes long.
Okay, At Wit's End and Pale Blue Dot are my favorite songs on this album. They were the ones that impressed me the most. So, as I was saying, Jordan Rudess is always, it seems like he's always doing something new with the keyboard and all of the stuff that he does. I mean, Pale Blue Dot intro is probably the best example of this, of him always doing something new. It's just great. He's amazing. I would say that he is the best. He's been the best Dream Theater keyboardist because he came in at like 2002 or something. Was the thing you were thinking of? Was it still Out of Reach though? Or?
Maybe. I was just kind of skipping through, so I might have skipped past it.
I feel like that probably was the song because I can't remember violin in the album at all, really. But like that was kind of like the slow one of it, the album. So I kind of feel like that might have been the one.
Slow. It was kind of like fast. But it's all playing like kind of the same thing. So some of the different like instruments and stuff you kind of can't hear super well just because everything's just so working in tandem and just perfect.
Yeah. Had like the orchestra kind of vibe to it. The orchestra effect. Yeah. So talked about a lot of positives and a little bit of negatives. Well, I did, you know. So I'm going to talk about something that's extremely negative.
Okay.
A specific song that I think is possibly the worst Dream Theater song ever. And I honestly find this song to be laughable, and I literally rolled my eyes at the intro riff to it. I want to see if you can... What's your first guess at this song?
My first guess is Viper King.
Wrong. Room 137. I did not like this song.
I can't think of what that song is.
The riff and just the way the vocal style was and everything, it just reminded me of Marilyn Manson, and I do not like Marilyn Manson at all. That's one of the main reasons, but it didn't feel like Dream Theater to me. I don't know what it was. Room 137. I don't know what's inside that room, but Dream Theater never needs to open that door again.
I literally cannot think of that song at all, so it's probably just a forgettable song for me, because I don't think any of the songs on there are like laughably bad or bad. But I think there's always been like one, maybe two songs that I'm just like,
So
that's probably one of them.
You've heard "The Beautiful People" by Marilyn Manson, right? Maybe not.
Maybe if I heard it,
okay. That's what the riff in Room 137 reminded me of. So, but yeah, that. As soon as I heard that riff, I've never rolled my eyes to a Dream Theater song in my life until that moment. Wow. I rolled my eyes and I was thinking, what is this? Dream Theater, how can you disappoint me so much? Honestly, I hate this song. I honestly do. I've never thought that I'd actually say that I hate a Dream Theater song.
Wow. I've had one of those.
I'm sorry.
It's an awesome Crush song that I listened to, and I was like, I hate this song. I hate it. I actually hate it. And I'm like, this is my favorite band ever.
Yeah.
I never thought I would ever say that I hate a Thousand Foot Krutch song, but there is one song that I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, my favorite band has an entire album that I do not like whatsoever. That's Super Collider by Megadeth. Yeah. Since you mentioned the bonus track, let's talk about the bonus track. Now that we've got the bad song out of the way.
Yeah.
Room 137. Dream Theater. Never open the door to that room again.
Don't go in that room.
Don't go in that room. For the love of God, don't. Don't try to sound like Marlon Manson. He sucks. He's terrible artist. Period. Okay. Viper King. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost said, I don't know why. I almost said like Viper Booth or something.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so Viper King, the bonus track. What are your thoughts on this song?
I when I first heard it, I really, really liked it. And it became, for a while it was my favorite song on the album. But after I listened to it a bunch because I really liked it, it kind of fell out of that. And here's kind of like my thing. When I first heard it, I was like, ooh, this kind of sounds kind of like 80s rock or whatever. It kind of reminds me of Greta Van Fleet, which is not an 80s band, but they have like an 80s feel to them. So I sent it to my brother Ben, and he said, yes, it sounds exactly like Greta Van Fleet. And I was like, yeah. But here's kind of my thing. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this.
Yeah, you might get some hate for comparing a Dream Theater song to Greta Van Fleet, which rips off Led Zeppelin.
Maybe. We'll see.
Right.
But I am not the biggest fan of 80s music. Sue me.
Wow.
So there's a lot of 80s music that I like, but I can only listen to it in like small doses.
Yeah.
I get this weird just kind of feeling after I listen to 80s music for like over like 2 or 3 hours. If I'm listening to constant 80s music for like over 2 or 3 hours, it just starts wearing me down. I'm like, okay, I need to listen to something else.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. There's just kind of this, all 80s music kind of has the same sound. Like, I'm not saying that it all sounds the same. There's just kind of like,
yeah.
I don't know if it's the production or if they were like really into synth. So maybe it's the synth part of it, but there's just like this specific sound that I'm just like, oh, I need to listen to something else because everything has this. And that's what Viper King has. It has kind of the same thing. So like, I really, really liked it when I first heard it, and then I listened to it a lot. I'm like, okay, I kind of not.
Yeah.
I still really like it, and I still really enjoy it, but it's not like the first thing I go to anymore.
Yeah. I can kind of understand where you're coming from with the 80s music. Although my first thought when your 80s music is more like the 80s thrash, which is kind of different, obviously. But like, I've definitely I understand where you're coming from with that. So, my thoughts on Viper King. It wasn't that great. I can't say I enjoyed it all that much. I'm kind of Like the one reason I wouldn't put the album Distance Over Time in like a, I might put it in the top 10 for Dream Theater as maybe number 10 or 9, but it barely makes it, honestly. And the reason for that is, Dream Theater's been around since like 83 or 85 or something. Their first album, I think, came out in 85.
Weren't they didn't they have a different band title at first?
Yeah, they were originally called Majesty.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's where the Dream Theater logo comes from, is like that, the original band name, Majesty.
Gotcha. I always wondered why it had an M in it. I'm like, M's at the end of Dream. What?
Yeah. So this album is like it. I mean, it's really good, but the thing that makes it kind of lackluster or just not really impressive in Dream Theater terms was it's the most recent album in 2019 for a band who's been around since the 80s, and it just feels like you've heard it before. I'm not going to say like it's just the same. Dream Theater's doing the same. There are interesting aspects, like
It's just familiar.
it's just like, yeah, it's Dream Theater. I've heard this before. They're not really trying to experiment. But then you get to the bonus track, and it's when I first heard it, I'm like, okay, they're actually doing what I kind of want them to do, is they like experiment. I mean, that's kind of like the whole point of prog music, is very experimental. And then I'm just like, I kind of feel like this experiment is going in the wrong direction. Because it just sounds, I don't know. It doesn't sound off in the same way of like changing time signatures constantly can. It just seems like, I don't know. I'll say this as my final thoughts on Viper King. It sounds like a very, very try-hard introduction to like prog metal.
Yeah.
And it just left a bad flavor in my mouth. Yes, I eat albums when I buy them. No.
And when I got to the end, it was it has a weird aftertaste.
Yeah, Distance Over Time is a pretty solid album, and then you get to Viper King, and it's just like, It's one of those things that's like, it's one of those songs that you stay silent over, not because it's like, oh, I gotta be quiet and like really listen to this because I enjoy it. It's like you stay silent over it because you're just like thinking, one, what is this? And two, why? And three, what is this?
What is this?
It's just like, it's one of those thinking moments that you're just like doing this, and you're just like, you're just like, am I supposed to like this? Am I supposed to hate it? It's one of those kind of moments. Yeah. But I mean, I gotta give him props for trying. I mean, that kind of what this song is just trying. It sounds like it's trying. It's trying to try. I don't know. Yeah. So, I mean, I can at least give props to Dream Theater for kind of getting outside of their comfort zone, but I would prefer if they actually did with an entire album.
Yeah.
Not that like any of their previous albums didn't sound like Dream Theater. It just sounded more experimental.
Yeah.
So, Honestly, that's pretty much all I've got to say about This Is Over Time by Dream Theater.
Yeah, same.
So, on a score from 1 to 10, what would you rate Distance Over Time by Dream Theater?
I would probably give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I don't think there's any songs on there that are like really bad. I think there are a couple forgettable songs on it. Kind of. It's not really. It's not their worst. I haven't listened to all of Dream Theater, so I don't know what their worst is. But it's different, and I like it. But I kind of like their other stuff better.
Yeah.
Their other stuff's a little bit better.
This album is very shuggy, especially with guitar. It's a very shuggy album. Shug, shug. Shug, shug, shug. Shug, shug, shug. You know, lowest string. Shug, shug, shug. It's very shuggy. So, taking in all that I've said about the album, I would give it a 6 out of 10, but I would give it a 6 leaning more towards a 7 than a 5, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to. The parts that I do enjoy, when I'm listening to it and I'm really getting into it, I'm like, oh, this is definitely a solid 7. But then I think about, the Room 137, and I'm like, I can't give it a 7. I just can't. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for This Is Over Time by Dream Theater. Now we are going to talk about 21 Pilots. So, Nathaniel, question.
Yes. Answer.
In the form of like a top 10 favorite bands for you, mostly, because I won't put 21 Pilots in my top 10 because I'm just a huge metalhead. But where would 21 Pilots be? Because you're a huge fan of this band, so I'm just a little curious as.
Okay. This is gonna sound really strange.
Okay.
They're tied with Dream Theater.
Okay.
for very different reasons.
Yeah.
Obviously, because they're two very different genres.
Obviously.
I think Tyler Joseph is a master at lyrics and writing basically just poetry for a song. And I that's probably my favorite thing about 21 Pilots is they're just the lyrics are for every single song. Every single song. I think probably my least favorite songs by them, I still really enjoy the lyrics.
Yeah.
And whereas Dream Theater, there's just everything that they do. Everything is just good. It's gold. And I don't mean like albums or songs. I mean just the instruments. Everyone in the band just is a master at their craft. So like whatever they work on is just amazing. So and they're two very different genres, so it's that's why I have a hard time putting one above the other. It's just because I'm like, they're so different. How can I choose?
Yeah, that's like you make a video and it's like, okay, let's say Megadeth versus Metallica or Iron Maiden versus Judas Priest. Like, yeah, those are typical. You're never gonna see a video called 21 Pilots versus Dream Theater.
What does 21 Pilots do better than Dream Theater? It's like
it's like
They're two very different genres.
Yeah, it's like it just comes down to personal preference.
Yeah.
Like you can't be like. I mean, I think that you know, the Backyardigans is a much better show than Breaking Bad, obviously, because they're two completely different things. One's a kids show and one's for mature audiences.
One's a cartoon.
Yeah, it's like
because one's a cartoon, and I like cartoons better than live action. So
yeah. Like, oh, let's do a video about Mickey Mouse and Jon Snow. Let's compare Mickey Mouse with Jon Snow.
Yeah, no,
it's like what? Doesn't make any sense. So yeah. So I gotta.
What did I say? I feel like I said it's tied with Dream Theater, but I don't think I said at what spot. Did I? Because I don't remember.
I don't think you did actually. What spot?
Yeah, tied for second. They're like right behind 1,000 Foot Crutch.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of figured they would be like second or third.
Yeah.
With you, you know. So I've got to say something about 21 Pilots. I was honestly quite excited when you picked them. For one huge reason. Back when Blurry Face came out, it was a huge hit. Everybody liked it. Everybody played it. And it got...
We were filming Death Arena, the first one, I think. We were like at the end of filming it, I think. And when William was driving us around, we were listening to Blurry Face, and Ben was like in the back seat.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my like biggest memories of Blurry Face was just that Ben, like, it took me a while to get into 21 Pilots, which is weird because now they're like one of my favorite bands. But but Ben was like immediately was like, I love this band. They're so good. And just started like listening to them all the time and was like rocking out to it while we were filming Death Arena.
Yep. So because of that, I honestly have to say it started becoming extremely repetitive and annoying to me, the album Blurry Face. So I kind of just got to the point that I was like, I hate this band. I don't want to listen to them. I don't care about them, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So then it just kind of started dying out. I haven't listened to them and stuff. And then you, of course, I invited you on to the podcast, and then you picked 21 Pilots. So I'm like, okay. Surprisingly, I actually became excited about it. I was like, okay, I can actually give this band a second chance. And honestly, I'm so glad I did.
Good.
It's yes.
I was honestly kind of scared to see what you were going to say because I know this type of music isn't.
Yeah.
It's got some like rock and stuff in there, but it's still rappy and still kind of hip hoppy. So I was like, I don't know what Ian's going to think about 21 Pilots because of just the genre of what it is. So I feel like there are going to be some songs that are like heavily hip hop that you're going to be like, about. And then just, I don't know. I really didn't know what the reaction was going to be.
I'm just joking, Nathaniel. This band sucks. No, I'm just kidding. No. Okay, let's go into it. So, I was kind of smart. I'm like, okay, Blurry Face was the album that really just made me just not like the band. So I'm gonna listen to the other stuff first. So I did that. I listened to. I can't remember what the first album I listened to was. I can't remember if it was Trench or it was actually their first album. I can't remember.
Their first album is. I think it's just 21 Pilots.
I can't remember what I listened to first.
Yeah, their second is Vessel, and Vessel just has both the band's grandparents on it.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, and then their most recent one was Trench.
Yeah. So I listened to pretty much all three of those albums, then I went back to Blurry Face. And honestly, I don't know what it is about Blurryface that I just don't really like. I just can't get into the album. I'm to the point that I don't think it's a bad album. There are a couple songs that I really like. I really like Heavy Duty Soul. Honestly, back then, like, that was a
Yeah.
song that I really liked anyway. Like, Heavy Duty Soul was. But when I hated 21 Pilots, Heavy Duty Soul was a good song to me. I like that song. Just the speed of it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about hip hop or like rap in general, but I just really like that song. And I think Doubt, Doubt was,
Yeah.
I think,
That's a really good song.
yeah, but like now, probably my favorite songs are like Heavy Duty Soul, Lane Boy, and Doubt. Really, those are the only three songs on the Blurryface record that I actually truly enjoy. The other ones just, I don't know what it is about this album.
You know, I am kind of with you on that. I don't think it's a bad album. I still really enjoy listening to it, but I don't know. It's weird. And I think part of it is just because it blew up. And you just after something blows up, it's sometimes like this is kind of out of the blue, but like Frozen. Like it's not a bad film, but because people blew it up like immediately came out, it's kind of hard to enjoy now because everyone just blew it up.
Yeah.
I feel like Blurryface is kind of the same way for me.
It's like overhyped.
I really enjoy their other three albums more than Blurryface. So I
Yeah.
still really enjoy Blurryface, and I think it has some solid songs on it, but it's not my favorite album by them.
Yeah. I honestly have to say that Stress Out is still a song that I just cannot listen to just because I just don't like it and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's not as bad as I might get some hate for this one, possibly from you, but my least favorite song by 21 Pilots is actually not on Blurryface. It's Heathens.
Okay.
I do not like this song. I do not like Heathens at all.
Were you among the group of people who really liked it at first and then it just got overplayed? Or did you just never really care?
I honestly have to say that I don't remember a time that I actually enjoyed this song.
Because Heathens, a lot of people say this about Heathens and Stressed Out. And I can agree with it on Heathens, not with Stressed Out. It got played. It was playing everywhere when it first came out. It was on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
It was in stores.
Yeah.
You literally could not get away from it. And when it first came out, I loved it. I thought it was one of their best songs. And then it kept getting played and 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 played. And it took me a little bit longer to get tired of it than other people, but eventually I did get tired of it, and now I just don't really like it. It's one of my least favorite songs.
Yeah.
Just because it got overplayed.
Yeah, overplayedness is a sad factor to include in some ways, you know.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that about Stressed Out too, because Stressed Out was one of the most popular songs on Blurryface and got played a lot. But during that time, I wasn't around radio and stuff as much, and I didn't hear it outside of just me wanting to listen to it that much. So it didn't get overplayed for me. Like I still really enjoy that song.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely prefer. I definitely prefer Stressed Out over Heathens. I think honestly, I would say that it's a much better song. just in general, when you take in everything like lyrics, beat, everything,
Yeah.
But I would say Stress Out would be a song that at a point, I did enjoy, and then it just kind of got overplayed. But Heathens, on the other hand, I just never liked.
Yeah.
So, but I could definitely understand the overplayed because, yeah, I walked in a mall when it came out, so
Yeah.
yeah, I literally could not go anywhere in that mall without hearing that song at least one day.
Yeah, you probably heard it. You probably heard it at least 5 or 6 times a
Yeah,
day.
I feel sorry for all the retail workers that have to listen to songs all the time, especially during Christmas time. Oh my gosh, just poor souls.
I love Christmas music, but I'm still one of those people who's like, I can only listen to Christmas music for a limited amount of time before I get tired of it.
Yeah,
It's the same with like 80s music. Not that they're like similar. It's just like the same thing where like you listen to it for a little bit and you're like, okay, I need to switch to something else because my brain is mush now.
so yeah, I think we kind of got Blurry Face out of the way, which I really wanted to talk about first, just to kind of get it done.
I feel like I have a few things that I wanted to say about Blurface.
Go ahead.
I
So anyway, no, I'm just kidding.
most of the like I said, it's not one of my favorite albums. I still think there are a lot of good stuff on it. I also one thing that I really like about Blurryface is is kind of the message behind it that I think was really well done. In the very first song, Heavy Dirty Soul, the bridge. I don't. It's not the bridge. Is it in the chorus? I don't remember. But there's a song lyric in there that says, "My name's Blurry Face, and I care what you think." So kind of
I
like
said stressed out.
Oh yeah, that is stressed out. What am I talking about?
I thought you were gonna start talking about the death as a dog rabbit thing.
Yeah.
But no, that's stressed out.
Yeah, that isn't stressed out. So second song off the album.
Yeah.
It kind of introduces you to the character Blurry Face, who I watched a few interviews with Tyler Joseph, and he talked about how Blurry Face is basically his like he created a character based off of his like insecurities and stuff. And in the music videos and at the concerts when Blurryface had just come out, he had painted his neck and his hands black to like represent like he feels like stuff that he says and does or just holding him back or whatever or something like that. And like Blurryface comes up like at least once or twice in each song, and if not like talked about, he's represented by the like deep voice. That's Blurryface. And then at the end, in the last song, Goner, he kind of like beats Blurryface or kind of like puts him away or like accepts him or whatever. So I think like the whole like story behind those songs and Blurryface is really interesting and really well done. And that's one thing about Blurryface, the album as a whole that I just really love.
Yeah. I wasn't too informed about that, so I kind of do have a little bit more of an appreciation for it now. So, but I definitely see it now. Like when I think about the album.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
like the topics that he talks about. So
album still sucks though. No, I'm just kidding. No, it doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. Okay, so yeah, that was good information. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the first album. We'll just go up. It's weird now that we're doing that, doing like albums in order that we just talked about the third album. So,
Yes.
okay, so 21 Pilots. Oh, actually, hold on. Let's rate Blurryface real quick.
Okay.
I would give Blurryface probably be about 4 out of 10, leaning towards 5. Because when I do the rating system, I kind of try to avoid personal preference as much as I can and just kind of like think about
Quality.
all the factors of it, like quality, everything. So I would say 4. 4 out of 10.
I will give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's still a pretty solid album.
All right. So 21 Pilots, self-titled debut. I was actually very impressed with this album.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Okay, so let's stop talking about this. This album is called 21 Pilots, and I listened to it. I definitely listened to it. It's really good, and it has songs in it.
Yes, it does have songs.
It's like one of those albums that makes you feel happy. Okay, Nathaniel, I got something to tell you. I didn't actually listen to 21 Pilots at all. Okay. I really like the. I honestly have to say, like, this might actually be. I'm pretty sure I listened to this one first. So I listened to this one, and then I think I listened to Trench, and then Vessels, and then, of course, Blurryface. When I heard it, of course, I was kind of going off the impression of 21 Pilots off of Blurryface. Mm-hmm. So I was very pleasantly pleased with how this album went.
Yeah, it's got a very different sound.
Yeah.
They have like I listened to their albums in order from when they were released, and it was really interesting to hear. And I hadn't ever done this. Like went from 21 Pilots to Trench to Blurryface to not Trench. Vessel to Blurryface to Trench. I've listened to all of them, but I haven't like listened to them like consecutively in like one sitting. So it was very interesting to hear their musical style slowly change over time. And it kind of felt like it felt natural. It was weird.
Yeah.
Usually when you like listen to like a band's discography, you can hear like how over time their music has changed a little bit. But it has never really sounded so just like it has never really, at least to me or any band that I've listened to, has never really sounded like this is where they're heading type thing. But you can just hear that when you listen to their albums in order. It's really strange.
Yeah. I honestly gotta say I adore the piano in this album.
Yes.
It was just kind of like going off of my original opinion on 21 Pilots. I just kind of thought it was just like nonsense hip hop, blah blah blah. But after I heard this album, I was like, I could tell these guys are musicians. Like I was like very pleased to be able to say that like these guys are musicians. They're not just like regular hip hop. Get a laptop, put the beat on there, and then just rhyme with the beat kind of people. they were musicians. They wrote these songs and they performed them just as well. Like, I was just so pleasantly surprised, especially with that first song on the album. That
Mhm.
that just really that really hit me.
Yeah. I haven't listened all the way through 21 Pilots in a long time, and I forgot how good it was because when I was listening to it, I was like, dang, this is a good album. I forgot.
Yeah,
Whew. And there's some songs on there that I was like, oh, dang, I need to listen to this album some more because
yeah,
it's been like it's probably the album that I know the least because I feel like I've only listened to it all the way through twice, and that's including when I was listening to all their songs again for this podcast yesterday.
yeah,
But like I have them in my playlist and stuff. They just don't, and I usually listen to my playlist on shuffle. They just don't come up as often as Blurry Face or Vessel or Trench do in my playlist. So I need to try and just go and listen to it to become more familiar with it because there's
yeah,
some really good songs on this album.
yeah. One really good song is right behind you, "Addict with a Pen."
Yes.
I remember, of course, I was in the mood of I hate this band back when you first showed me this song, so I kind of ignored it. But could you blame me? I just had a bad impression of the band.
No, I've done that before too.
Yeah,
There have been times when my uh, brother and sister have a very distinct musical taste, and it's pretty different from mine. Not super different, but different enough to where they'll listen to certain bands, and I'm just like, so
yeah,
like every now and again they'll show me a song from a band, and I'm just like, whatever. And then
yeah,
I'll like keep listening to it. I'm like, okay, this is actually good.
yeah.
I think I kind of did that with 21 Pilots because the first song I heard by them was um shoot, it's off of Blurry Face. It was like their most popular song off of Blurry Face, or like their single, or whatever.
Stressed out.
No,
Okay.
because Stressed Out was the first song I heard by them that I actually liked and actually enjoyed.
Okay.
It's like their most. It's not very hip hoppy and it's not very rock. It's kind of like in between.
Fairly local.
Yeah, no,
Ride. I don't know.
no.
I'm just kind of like naming the ones I know.
Why am I blanking on the name?
Anyway, let's just go on
Anyway,
because
yeah.
last time this happened, we
Yeah,
just kind
they
of
showed
like.
me that song. They showed me that song, and I was like, whatever. And it's probably my least favorite song off of Blurry Face. And then they started showing me the rest of 21 Pilots, and I was like, I already know I don't like them because I heard that one song, and then I heard Stressed Out, and I was like, okay, they're kind of good actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Addict with the Pen. Even back then, I still kind of like. Okay, this isn't bad, but I was still kind of in that mood of just. I don't want to listen to this band. I don't care about this band. I never want to see
Yeah.
this band. But of course, listening to it now, I really like the song. It's one of the best songs on the album
Oh,
for
I
sure.
agree.
I of course I love the piano on it, but I very much appreciate his vocal performance on this album as well.
Yeah.
He is a very good vocalist, just in general.
Yes, he is. I really enjoy his vocals. I think he's one of he's really good because he can do a lot of times he'll just randomly just scream and you're not expecting it from like the type of music that he plays and the type of music that he sings and he just randomly will just scream and you're like, what? and it never sounds like forced either, and it's just
Yeah.
you can tell he's trained his voice to be able to do that, to go from just normal regular just singing and then just go into screaming.
Yeah.
He does it in this song too a couple times.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He there was at one point that he just gets like so high, it's ridiculous almost, you know.
Yeah. And one reason why I like this song so much is because it's so emotional, and you can tell that it's coming from like a deep place within him, and it's the way he sings it, the way just listening to the lyrics and reading the lyrics, you can tell that this is coming from like a place where he's like struggled with, and like it's so good. It's very much and when I first heard it and like really paid attention to the lyrics, it really resonated with me.
Yep. Another song that I really enjoy, just because of the just kind of like the uniqueness of it, was the Pantaloon. That's a that's a really good song. I'm like, this is what? Like really, it's like, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's just really good.
Yeah, there was the first time I ever heard the Pantaloon. Because it was so different, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Nope. And I just like put it away and just never listened to it again until yesterday. And then when I heard it again yesterday, I was like, I actually like this song now. I don't know why I didn't like it before.
I think I'd say the goofiness of it, because it just kind of sounds goofy, you know, like musically, it just sounds goofy. That's the charm of it, you know, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just didn't get it the first time. Yeah. I was like, why?
It just really. I
listened to it the second time after kind of like knowing more about 21 Pilots and kind of like who they are and everything. I was just like, I understand the song now. I get it.
Yeah. It just really has that, what was I gonna say? Crap. Yeah.
It just thing. Has that.
It just has that right there.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. That right there. No. Sorry for any headphone users who just had, you know, their ears explode. You know. It has. Okay, I'll stop. Beforehand, I was doing it by accident. I did it on purpose there. Yeah. Okay, I remember what I was going to say. The name of the song fits well with the music of it. The Pantaloon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, the second half of this album just kind of starts going downhill a little bit, which honestly I can kind of say that with all 21 Pilots albums, in my opinion, but they're still enjoyable.
Agree, honestly, I think I've always thought it was weird because I feel like after a certain point on each 21 Pilots songs, it just kind of starts going downhill. Not saying that they're bad songs. It's just, it's just weird that like maybe it's just the placement of the songs, because it always feels like they start out really strong and then just kind of
yeah.
like, because I thought that about like, Blurry Face when it had like first come out. Then I went and listened to Vessel, and even though Vessel's my favorite album, even though it's my favorite album, uh it does. I feel like it does the same thing.
Yeah.
I feel like Trench might be the only one that I couldn't really say that about, but even then, I feel like it does just a little bit, but not as much as the other ones.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know. Maybe they just figured it out.
Yeah. So, self-titled debut. There wasn't really much. I mean, I like the uniqueness of it. I love the piano, just everything about it. Really, it kind of got me in the mood of 21 Pilots too. It was very good that I started with it. Coming from a place that I just hate the band. I listened to their first album and I I very much enjoyed it. So it really got me into the 21 Pilots mood. So for that, I gotta give it props. And I'm gonna give this album a solid 7 out of 10. Very
Yeah,
strong, solid 7.
I'm probably gonna have to give it an 8 out of 10. Just mainly, I probably would have given it lower before yesterday, but then yesterday I re-listened to it and I was like, oh wow, I forgot how much I really enjoyed this album. So I'm gonna have to bump it up a little bit.
Yeah. All right. So from there, we're going into, as you just said, your favorite album, which I knew. When I was listening to all this stuff, listening to it, I'm just like thinking in the back of my head, I think I know what Nathaniel's favorite album is. And I guessed it right. It's Vessel.
Yep, that's.
So,
I think Vessel has one of the strongest starts to an album in, I don't know.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. This is the
In a
best
lot of,
opening song in 21 Pilots.
probably in their entire discography, it's their best
Yes.
opening.
Yes.
But I would probably argue it's one of the best openings to an album in, like, it would probably like top 10 best openings to an album.
I honestly wouldn't agree, but I could definitely understand where you're coming from. Like, it is a really good song.
I don't listen to a lot of like albums because like I'll hear a song that I really really like by a specific artist and then I'll go and listen to like other songs expecting it to sound like that stuff, that song that I really liked, and then it turns out that one song that I really like is just an oddity, like kind of their like experimental song, so the rest of their music doesn't sound anything like that. So there are a lot of times where I just like specific songs, not specific artists or specific albums.
Yeah.
There are, I feel like I haven't listened to like complete albums or complete discographies of very many bands. So
Yeah.
when I say that, you kind of have to think about it as like small.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to that. One example, best example I can give is actually a whole album that I like by a band. The band Arctic Monkeys, AM. A really good album. I tried listening to their other stuff, and I'm just like, this is crap. I don't like this.
Their stuff is very. Their other stuff, I like some of their other stuff outside of AM, but it all just kind of sounds the same.
Yeah.
Like it's fine, it's good, but AM's the best for for sure.
Definitely. But yeah, Ode to Sleep. Really good song.
Yeah.
Really, really good song.
I really like the history about behind how it got named. They were playing it. This is off their. This is off of their very first album. I think it's like one of their first songs. They just didn't get to put it after they like signed a record label and they were like, this album is no longer, we're not publishing this album because the music industry sucks. They put some of their songs off that album onto 21 Pilots and this is one of those songs. So like back when they were like just starting and they were playing in like bars and just stuff just to like play around, just play their music around. They hadn't had a name for it yet, and so they like asked people who were like listening to them to like name it because they couldn't think of a name for it, and someone just put Ode to Sleep, and they looked at it and they really liked it, so that's what it's called.
Wow.
Man, to be that person, and now that they're like a big group,
yeah,
like
it'd be like
they
that.
named one of their songs.
It'd be like that one fan, like, I named that song right there. That song. Like they're in the concert, was like they're playing it. Oh, this is the song I named. I named this song. You know the story that they tell in interviews? I'm that guy. Yeah, it must be a blast to tell that story to people. It's like, hey, have you ever heard of the band 21 Pilots? I named one of their songs. How cool is that? Yeah. I'm cooler than you now because I named a song for a famous band. That guy probably has such a big head.
Yeah.
But no, it's a really good song.
This is like one of the first songs. I think this is probably the first song that I heard by them. They're like, okay, they have moved from like, I don't know, somewhere in the 50s of my favorite bands to like top 10.
Yeah, I understand that.
It's such a good song.
Yeah, I really love how it changes style. It's almost like it's like 3-4 songs into one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound forced.
And it flows really well.
It's great. It's fantastic. Yeah. And then it follows up with Holding On To You. Which...
Yeah. Oh, Holding On To You is a really good song. It's like, I would say Vessel has not only like the best like intro to an album, but it's got such like a good like first few songs. They're just like banger after banger after banger.
Yeah.
It's rare that you come across an album where you're just like, ooh, this is a really good song. Oh, dang, this is a really good song, too. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
Yeah. So, this is probably the only album that I kind of feel a little differently about in the terms of what we were talking about earlier of how it went kind of starts going downhill near like the middle ground. This album's more like really good, really good, really good, really good, really good, really good, and that song that's near the beginning is a House of Gold for me.
I can understand that.
Yeah,
I really enjoy House of Gold, but it's different.
Yeah,
it's got a very different feel because he picked up a ukulele and was like, all right, I'm a learn how to play this. And it didn't take him very long to learn because he already knew like guitar and stuff, and ukulele is not a hard instrument to learn.
Yeah.
And so I think he was just just picked it up and was like learning it, and then I think after he learned it, just immediately wrote House of Gold. I really like it because it's just kind of like a love letter to his mom. So just kind of like, it's a nice song to write for your mom. But
yeah, I do appreciate that aspect of it, but I do not like ukulele one bit.
Really?
No.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so when I'm hearing these ukulele covers of songs I like, or just songs in general, I'm just like, please make it stop. Yeah, not something I talk about often. I just kind of like It's one of those things that I just don't like, and then I'm just like, I don't talk about it because I don't like it. It's not something that's like, oh, I like something like this, and then it changed, so then I don't like it. That's when people become
You don't
vocal
hear
about stuff like that.
it's not. It's not like, and it's not like it comes up in conversation very often because people don't like
Yeah.
ukulele isn't like one of those instruments. Like people will play it when they're like playing, uh, kind of acoustic covers. If they're playing acoustic covers, it's usually a guitar, an acoustic guitar, or a ukulele. But it's really not one of the more popular instruments, at least not here in America.
Yeah, I'm sure in Hawaii it's like all over the place. Ukulele stores all over the place in Hawaii.
I said here in America. I'm dumb. This
Yeah.
part of America.
This part of America. We don't count
This
Hawaii as America. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just making a joke. Gosh, I did it again. Okay. Sorry, this thing keeps bumping into the mic. Okay, anyway, joking aside, yeah, I'm not crazy about ukulele, so
I like the sound of it. I feel like it kind of has to have a certain feel to it in order for it to work. I think it works well with House of Gold, but I don't know. You can't play anything on a ukulele and it just sound good.
Yeah. That's one reason why ukulele covers are just.
You kind of have to pick a specific song for it to sound. It's kind of like I feel like that you could say the same thing about a flute. Like I feel like a flute works really really well with like fantasy, mystical, fantastical music, but outside of that, it's eh. You know?
Yeah. Speaking of flute, this probably won't be a band that you'll be really into, but there was a Christian metal band, like really hardcore metal, like death metal, that just have a flute all the time. They're called Holy Blood. I was very impressed by that band, and the flute just sounds awesome. So yeah, might be something to check out. Anybody who's watching, so
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, it surprised me. I was like, "Is that a freaking flute in death metal?" I was like, "What? It is walking. What is going on?" So yeah, but I like flute. It definitely, yeah, like you said, it's like very mythical kind of aspect to it. But yeah, House of Gold wasn't one of my favorites, but Car Radio is definitely up there. I think that was the one like right after that one. I feel like
Car Radio's really good.
Yeah, I feel like Vessels is out of the three albums we've talked about. I feel like Vessels lasted a little longer with the really good songs than the other ones. Even though in some ways, especially in a musical aspect, I kind of prefer the first album over Vessels. But I would say that it kind of lasts longer. Because like the song Semi-Automatic is closer to the end, but it's like honestly a really good song, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it lasted longer for me.
Yeah, I think probably the last 4 or 5 songs on Vessel are just kind of, they're not bad. They just, I feel like they blend together too well, so that way it just kind of sounds the same for the next 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it probably is just the order that they put them on the album that makes them.
Yeah. Honestly, I agree with that because I can honestly see a song like Semi-Automatic being in the place of House of Gold. Just because of like you have amazing, like and then back to really good, you know. So just switch Semi-Automatic with House of Gold, and I think it would that blend would have been perfect almost, you know. But yeah,
What I find funny,
sorry. I was just gonna say I
uh,
agree that the placement of the songs is a big factor onto the dragging part near the end.
mhm. um, what I find really interesting about Car Radio and a few of their other songs too is that there's just like this simple like little premise, and then he just like creates just this like beautiful song because like there was this one time when he was talking about in an interview how he came up with the song Car Radio because he was driving a car and then someone just stole the car radio out of it, so he just didn't have a car radio in his car for a while. And I think like that story, just telling that story, is just like really simple and just kind of funny.
Yeah,
But then he creates a beautiful song off of it, and then like the lyrics behind everything is like,
yeah.
well, that
In in that
is like the lyrics is like, I need music to like not listen to my brain talk because my brain is just a disgusting place to be, and I don't want to listen to myself. I want to distract myself from myself,
yeah,
and then like, and that's really just relatable. So like, and yeah, I just really like it.
yeah,
He actually, in the interview that I listened to him talking about it, he encouraged people to just kind of just turn off their radio every now and then, just to like have like a discussion with themselves and just kind of think out some things that they just need to think out,
yeah.
get through.
That that story definitely supports the thing I said near the very beginning that these guys are musicians, and it shows. You know that definitely supports that statement. So
Yeah,
that's a really good story. Total, definitely relatable. Not
yeah,
that I own a car yet, but well,
yeah.
I
It's
kind of
just
do.
kind of that thing where you
Yeah,
like you use music and other things, kind of distract yourself, just so that way you don't have to think about life stuff that you don't really want to
yeah,
think about. It's stressful or because it's uh, not fun to think about, you know. But sometimes you need to sit down and just think about those things, just to either get them out of your system or to figure out the problem or whatever, instead of ignoring it and trying to run away from it.
yeah. We just got real deep.
Yeah.
No, it's all good.
What do you think about Guns for Hands?
Can't say I remember too much of it, but I don't think I didn't.
Because that's near the end, but I think
Yeah,
that's one. It's a really solid song.
yeah. I feel like that was one that I was kind of like really getting into. Yeah,
I really enjoy that one because once again, like this one is this one does has like a deeper story behind it. They kept getting like letters from fans and stuff about uh, like wanting to commit suicide, or they just were like talking to them about suicide, and he felt really deep about it. So he wrote there's at least one song about suicide on each of their albums, and every single one is beautiful.
yes,
I feel like beautiful is a weird word for Guns for Hands because it's not, I don't know how to word it exactly. It's
yeah.
not
It's
beautiful, but it is beautiful. In
yeah,
like the sense of like what it means and like what he's talking about and everything. And like the lyrics, the way the lyrics are crafted are beautiful, but like you wouldn't really call the way it sounds beautiful.
yeah. It just kind of feels weird using that word in when you're talking about the suicide related topic,
Yeah.
But I would say touching. More
Yeah.
of a,
Touching. That.
yeah. But I definitely understand what you're meaning,
Yeah. It's yeah. And their songs about suicide are probably some of their best work because it's coming from like a deep place where he's just wanting to reach out to those people who feel that way because he's felt that way before.
Yeah. Definitely a heavy topic.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly very glad that musicians take it seriously,
Yeah.
and actually write songs because music is a very good place to be in for a lot of people. It's an escape from reality and stuff. And when they take music so seriously and listen to lyrics, it can help them.
Yeah.
So it's good that musicians take that topic very seriously.
Yep.
So, yeah, Vestal, really, really solid album.
Yeah.
Um,
There's something that I wanted to say earlier that I kind of forgot to just now. I think Blurry Face has a really, really good ending song because from what I've noticed listening to lots of different albums, a lot of people they'll end on either like a slow, sad kind of song or end on like a really fast paced hype kind of song. And like I hear that like all the time, like it's one or the other. And like personally I've always felt like it should be a hype song just to be like, that was really good. I don't want to listen to the whole thing again. Now I'm hyped to listen to the whole album again.
yeah,
Until I heard Blurry Face, which ends on like a mix. And I don't know how they did it because it's like a perfect mix between the two. And
yeah,
so I think Blurry Face is probably the strongest ending out of their discography. And Vessel, I don't want to say. I think they're probably their. I don't want to say weakest. It's it's weakest for me because I like ending on like a hype song.
yeah,
And but probably 21 Pilots has the weakest because it ends on like a really slow song. Um, and then Vessels ends on a slow song too,
yeah.
which is it's a good song. I really like Truce. Or
Yeah.
yeah, Truce.
I honestly gotta say that I really like trees as well. So that would
Yeah,
that would
I really like Truce.
uh, vessels, not vessels. There's no S at the end. Vessel would honestly be like I keep remembering that song. Trees is like okay, like I say, guns for hands or semi-automatic is after that it kind of starts dying off, and then I'm like, oh wait, there's that one song that's still really good. So I mean, it's just a really solid album in general. So honestly, I would give it a 7 out of 10. Good,
This one's
solid
probably
7.
an out of 10 for me. I really, really love this album.
What did you give it?
9.
9. Okay, kind of glitched out there. So
Oh.
yeah, 9 out of 10. And we already talked about Blurryface, so we got one more
Yeah.
left. Trench.
Their most recent album.
2018.
Yeah.
Right?
To
Yeah.
be honest, when they released their singles, which were The Run and Go, Nico and the Niners, and Jumpsuit. I was really disappointed. I was like, wow, these aren't great. uh, I felt like they had kind of fallen more mainstream because I felt like I still kind of do feel like their music's a little pushing mainstream more than their other albums have. So I was kind of like disappointed with it. And I didn't listen to it for the longest time, but then I had some friends at college who were like, you should listen to it. It's actually a really good album. I was like, okay. So I went and listened to it, and I kind of just had it on in the background. And I liked it better than I was expecting to, but I hadn't really, like, fully listened to it until, I don't know, a little bit later. And I, like, started, like, I think I was, like, kind of just sitting in my bed listening to it and just had it on the background, was doing something else, like homework or something. And then, like, my mind just kind of started paying attention to, like, lyrics to specific songs. Chlorine and Neon Gravestones in particular, I started, like, really paying attention to the lyrics, and I was like, oh, whoa, no, ooh, these are actually really good songs. And then I went and listened to the song, like the full album again, just more paying attention to the lyrics, and I really liked it after that.
Yeah.
So
I would honestly.
Trench took me a while to get into it, like I
Yeah.
did with the other ones. It took a second.
I can understand that. Just
I can say is a good thing or a bad thing. Well, it's not a good thing, but I don't know if it's like
not necessarily a bad thing
it's
either.
a me thing, them thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I could kind of understand that point of view, just based off of how the other albums went and, you know, how much you enjoy them, especially like Vessel, you know. And honestly, I would have to say that Trench is my favorite album by 21 Pilots.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I
wasn't expecting that. I thought your favorite was either going to be 21 Pilots or Vessel.
Yeah. The order that I would say in my favorites are Trench, 21 Pilots, Vessel, and Blurry Face. That would be like my top 4. Well, yeah, of course they were 4, but that's my order that I like. Jumpsuit, that bass line is very groovy and just kind of draws you in. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And then Chlorine, Neon Gravestones is 2 that you mentioned. Those are like top notch,
Neon
really.
Gravestones is another song about suicide. That's just
Yeah.
This one I can say is beautiful. The music is beautiful. The lyrics are beautiful. It hits me every time I listen to it.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah, those 2 songs, Chlorine and Neon Gravestones, flip-flop between my favorite song off the album. I can't, because at first it was Chlorine and then it was Neon Gravestones, and then sometimes I'll go back to Chlorine, and I just can't pick between the 2.
Yeah. But since this is my favorite album, I'd have to say that I liked it all the way through. I didn't think that it went downhill at any point. I can honestly, safely say that this is the only 21 Pilots album that I enjoyed from start to finish. Truly enjoyed. So I liked, aside from Blurry Face, I liked all of them start to finish. Okay, you know, but you know we already touched on that. Bandito is a really good song. That one kind of stuck out to me, and Morph. Of course, like more going into like the first like 5, My Blood, Levitate. Those are really good ones.
I really like Levitate.
Yeah.
I can't really talk about why. It's just one of those songs that just kind of hits you in the right way, and you're just like, ooh,
yeah.
songs.
It's like, I like this.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna talk about it though. But I just like it.
Yeah, it's
Hey, you
I
don't
like
always
it.
have to give specific reasons of why you like songs.
Yeah, sometimes you just like a song, and sometimes you just don't. And
Yeah,
uh,
it's an odd thing to say on a podcast about music, but
yeah,
it's true.
yeah.
I
Like
really like.
if someone told me they didn't like a song, and I said, "Oh, that's interesting. Why?" And they were like, I don't know. There's just something about it I just don't like." I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah,
And vice versa.
yeah. Another couple songs that stuck out to me were Smithereens and Nico and the Ninos. Really like those.
I really Nico and the Niners was probably my least favorite out of the three singles that they released, but it's one of my favorite songs now. I don't
Yeah,
know and I can't when I listen to them now I can't even remember not liking them. I just know that I didn't, and
yeah,
it's weird to think that I was like, oh, I don't like these songs, and now I'm just like, I like these songs a lot.
yeah. And then like the two last songs on the album, Legend and Leave the City, are still like really good, pretty really
Leave
solid
the
songs.
City is okay. Leave the City is one of those songs that I was talking about earlier that is like really slow and kind of ends the album
Yeah,
really slow, but I feel like it works for Trench. It's one sometimes it works to have a really hype song at the end just because like that's kind of like the theme of the album.
right.
And same with slow songs, and I feel like it works really well for Trench because Leave the City it's a beautiful song.
It really is. One thing that I really liked about this album and why it's my favorite is because I kind of compare it to another certain album by a different band that I would have to say is my favorite album by this certain band. Mostly because of the catchiness of like choruses and just the vocals in general and stuff. It's kind of got that repeat, put on repeat kind of feel to it. And the
Yeah,
album I'm talking about is Wild World by Bastille.
yeah, that's my favorite album by Bastille too.
Yeah.
Their new album is okay, it's fine,
Yeah.
and I like it. I just think Wild World is
Yeah.
a little
It's
bit
definitely
better.
the best. But yeah, I find myself comparing Trench and Wild World together. And I think it's a pretty solid comparison. It's not something
Yeah,
that I'm like, oh, this is obviously better
yeah.
than the other.
It's
I think
not
it's,
like 21 Pilots to Dream Theater.
yeah. Yeah. It makes a little more sense than that, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it, I just like, because like the choruses of each song off of Wild World is just something that's always like, oh, I want to hear it again.
Mhm.
It's kind of like choruses are usually something that gets repetitive and you don't want to hear often, except
Yeah.
for like Wild World. And I got that feeling with Trench. It's like, oh, I know choruses are usually something that's repetitive, but I want to hear it again.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Mhm.
very, very good. I like it. That's one big reason why, because I really like Bastille, and that Bastille was the band that kind of got me out of the whole mood of metal is king, and well, still think metal is king, but
Metal's
metal
King.
is life.
That's just that.
Everything sucks. That got me out of that mood. Bastille
That
was
is
the band.
just because metal is king doesn't mean everything else sucks.
Yeah, yeah. That Bastille was the band that got me out of the mood of everything. Everything else sucks. And that's a reason why I really like Trenches, because it reminds me of that band that got me to explore other genres and get into just music. Not that saying that it's all good, but pop music pretty much sucks these days. But anyway,
Yeah, you know, you
yeah,
really have to dig through pop music to find anything good.
yeah,
It's the bottom barrel to find something good out of pop music.
yeah,
There, rare.
It's hard.
And then when you do find those like gold, that really rare, they'll get overplayed.
Yeah.
And then you don't like them anymore.
It's like mining in Minecraft. You constantly go down, and then you get gold, and then you're just like, oh, more gold, more gold, more gold, more gold, more gold, more gold, more gold. I'm gonna go back up to the surface. That's what finding gold in pop music's like. But yeah, Trench. Fantastic album.
Read.
What would you rate this album?
Probably an 8 out of 10. Probably leaning closer to a 9 than a 7.
I agree. I'm going with the same rating. 8 out of 10.
Part of me wants to give it a 9, but I don't know. There's another part of me that's like, 9's a little too high.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just can't really give any 21 Pilots a 9, just for my personal preference on music and just in general. But this is definitely leaning towards a 9 with me, because I just really like it.
Have you heard their song Level of Concern?
I have not actually.
That
I
came
meant
out
to.
during quarantine. I really like that song. It's a good song. I wouldn't say it would really fit with Trench, but it's definitely got more of the Trench vibe than the other ones. I have really enjoyed a lot of the songs that have come out of the pandemic, whether they're specifically talking about COVID-19 and the pandemic and quarantine or not.
Yeah.
I really enjoy them just because like these types of like situations are like really good times to just be creative and come up with really good stuff. I think a lot of people have come out with really creative stuff during this time, and it makes me really happy.
Yeah. And I knew it was going to happen. As soon as it all happened, it was like, okay, every musician is going to start writing music.
Yep. Yeah, and like even though like I was really stressed out about a lot of different things going on because I was in school at the time.
Yeah.
I lost my job, so I was worried about money and all that type of stuff. There was one thing that I was looking forward to, and that was like all the art that was going to come out of it.
Yeah, for sure. It's like all the tours just got canceled and the musicians are stuck at home. I wonder what's going to happen. Everybody's just waiting.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we don't get to see them live, but hey, at least we might get some new music. So, that's nice. So, what would be your album from your favorite to your least favorite of 21 Pilots? I've already said mine, so.
Well, obviously my favorite's Vessel. I think Wrench is probably my second favorite. And then 21 Pilots and then Blurry Face.
Okay.
And it's all like very close.
Yeah.
There's barely any gaps between them at all.
Yeah.
The big gap probably between Vessel and Trench, and that's not very much of a gap.
Yeah. Like for me, the only gap is like, okay, Blurry Face obviously is my least favorite, and then Trench is obviously my favorite. And then the only two that were really close was 21 Pilots and Vessel, because I really like both of those albums almost equally. I think I gave them the same rating, like a 7. But it was just, those albums were very close. Yeah. But I think I enjoyed the use of piano on 21 Pilots so much that that's what gave it the edge.
Mhm.
Because I just love that instrument, you know.
Yeah. Piano and guitar are like my two favorite instruments. They just sound beautiful.
Now then,
Top 10. So, is there a specific way you do this on your show? Or?
so basically what we do, if you have maybe one or two honorable mentions, we'll just go through those real quick, not really talk about it. I've got a couple honorable mentions. And then we'll probably start with you since you're the guest. So you do your number 10, and then I'll do my number 10, then your number 9, my number 9, and we'll basically go till we get to 1.
Okay.
But just real quick, I'll just say my two honorable mentions just because they were my favorite songs off of Blurry Face, Heavy Dirty Soul and Doubt. All my honorable mentions. So
I have 2 honorable mentions, at least 2. Okay, let's make it 4, actually. First of all, we didn't talk about them a whole lot because the first one is because it's off of I don't know why I always have such a hard time remembering the first album.
Regional at best.
Regional best. I really don't know why that's so hard to remember.
I remember
every
it
time
because
I go to talk about it, I forget. I blank on the name. Because we didn't talk about regional at best. I'm going to mention the song "Lovely." It's okay. I really, really like that song.
I don't think I heard that one. I need to go back to listen to that.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend listening to regional at best because it's if it were an actual album by them, which I mean it is, but if it were like still being printed, everything, it would probably be on par with Vessel. Honestly, I really enjoy regional at best. But it's unfortunate that they signed a record label and they were like, nah, you can't record this music anymore.
Yeah, so that's dumb.
Anyway, my next one is "Level of Concern," which we were talking about. I really, really enjoy that song. And then "Trapdoor" off of 21 Pilots. It's a really, really solid
That's
song.
one we didn't touch on. That was a good one. I really like that one.
Yeah, it's a really good song.
I'd go ahead and say that's my third honorable mention, just for the heck of it, because that's really good.
"March to the Sea" off of 21 Pilots is a really good song that I really love.
I can't believe I forgot about that song. That's like the last song on the album, isn't it?
No, the last song on that album is "Isle of Flightless Birds," I think.
Okay. Because that one's really good. Both of those are really good, but March to the Sea.
Yes.
Fantastic. So yeah, now the start of the top 10.
Well, you got to do your honorable mentions.
I just did.
You did?
The Heavy Dirty Soul and Doubt.
Yeah, you did.
And then I just, and then I just added Trapdoor. And I'll just go ahead and add March to the Sea, because Trapdoor and March to the Sea are both really good songs that I kind of forgot about, didn't mention, so I just did talk about them. But yeah. So, starting with number 10, you do yours, and then I'll do mine, and then we'll go from there.
And is "The Judge" off of Blurry Face. I think that it is one of my favorite songs off that album. I just don't have a whole lot of. I think I only have 2. Yeah, I only have 2 songs off of Blurry Face on my top 10, and that's one of them.
Cool.
I just really enjoy that song.
Yeah. I can't say I remember much of that song, but I can't say I remember like hating it or
was
extremely disliking it or anything.
Yeah, I think it was one with ukulele.
No. Well, that's
But
probably why I forgot about it.
It's not as noticeable as House of Gold, so maybe.
Okay. So yeah. Yeah. So, my number 10, Jumpsuit. Starting off with the opening of Trench. I really love that bass line. It's great. I really like the play off the wall jumpsuit, how he does it in the song. Now, that's one thing I definitely enjoy about 21 Pilots is the way that he puts the title of the song into the lyrics. Of course, that could be arguably be a good thing about most bands in general, just music, if it's done right. I've heard it been done.
Sometimes it feels forced.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does feel forced. They're like, they came up with the name of the song first, and then they forced it into the song.
Yeah. And sometimes the name of the song isn't in the lyrics at all.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I don't mind it. I feel like sometimes...
Yeah.
Like Ode to Sleep, even though that was like a fan or like someone who heard them perform it came up with it, I feel like sometimes it can have like a deeper meaning. Like you really have to listen to the song to figure out why it's called that. But sometimes it's not that way. And just...
Yeah, and then some songs don't have lyrics at all, but have titles called instrumentals. But anyway, yeah, Jumpsuit, number 10. Good song.
Yeah. And then number 9 for me is also off of Blurryface, and that's Stressed Out.
So both your Blurryface ones are right at number 9 and 10. Interesting. Yeah. I honestly would say when you were talking about the insecurity part about Blurryface, that kind of gave me a more good impression on Stressed Out, because I do kind of like the lyrics based off of that, It's kind of like stressed out because of insecurities and all that, So, definitely not a bad song, I don't think.
I relate to Stressed Out a lot more now that I'm an adult living on my own.
Oh, yeah. Everybody relates to that song. It's the most relatable song in human history ever. Everyone gets stressed out, so therefore it's most related.
I did relate to it to a certain extent when I first heard it, but I was still living with my parents at the time and didn't really have to worry about rent or anything.
Yeah. You're still one of those carefree high schoolers.
Yeah.
So yeah. My number 9 might shock you. I don't know how you're going to feel about this. Because I feel like this song is much higher on your list. Addict with a Pen. I really like the song, don't get me wrong. Just, I enjoy a lot. 8 more songs, much more than it. But I love this song. I definitely think it is one of the best off of the first album. And since it's in my top 10, it's one of their best songs ever.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I think
will say it does get a little repetitive.
Yeah.
So
I think it just kind of has more to do with the replayability. That's why it's lower on the list for me, especially at number 9.
Yeah.
But I definitely didn't kind of have any trouble placing it. Like, oh, do I like Jumpsuit more than Addict with a Pen? Like, I didn't think of that at all. Like, I was like, okay, Addict with a Pen, I think it's a better song than Jumpsuit. But yeah. Still really love the song, though.
Yeah.
We're back, everybody.
Number 8 for me is Car Radio.
Nice pick. Yeah. I can safely say that's not on my list, actually, but it's still one I really enjoy. I
Top
definitely
20.
love the message of it, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely top 20. Probably even top 15.
Nice.
But yeah, really, really good song. Nice pick.
Yeah.
That definitely feels like a number 8, especially for you.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like 8 onwards is just going to be the entire Vessel album, mostly. No, I'm just kidding.
Pretty much.
There's no shame in it. Yeah. When you're doing top 10 songs based off of full albums, I mean, you're always going to have, like, songs that are in there. You're going to have, like, 5 songs off of the same album.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my number 8, which I, like, literally before we started calling each other on Discord here, I changed my number 8 and 7
Oh,
because I was just so iffy about it. This is where I had the most trouble. Like, the rest of the list was just easy, but 7 and 8. So my number 8 is Bandito off of Trench. Really good song,
yeah.
but I was having so much trouble. So,
Yeah. Now I'm interested to hear what your number 7 is. My number 7 is "Holding On to You" from Trent Vessel.
Wow. Looks like we have the same number 7.
Oh, more
Yeah.
interesting.
Interesting. My number 7 is "Hold On to You," because I was "Holding On to You." I was thinking about it. I'm just like, I really like Bandito. Obviously,
Mhm.
like it's a really good song. And then I'm just like, but I kind of find myself in just replaying "Holding On to You." I like the hype of it more, and Bandito's
Yeah.
more of like a slow, soft paced kind of song. So I was like, just because of the hype of it, and just how he sings it, he sings it like it's very hyped, he sings it in a
Have you
very
watched
loud.
the music video to "Holding On to You"?
I don't think I've watched any of the music videos except for like "Stressed Out" or something.
Stressed Out's weird.
Yeah, "Stressed Out's weird."
The "Holding On to You" music video is really good. I would highly recommend you watch that one.
I will.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a
I feel
really good
I think
song.
"Holding On to You" is my favorite of their music videos. I can't really remember all of it because most of their other ones are them, except for the ones from Trench. They felt like they had like a kind of a story to them, which was pretty cool. But I don't know. And then their other ones off of Blurry Face are just kind of them singing in a room. They're good and
Yeah.
they're very pretty, but I don't know. I like the ones where there's actually stuff happening more
Yeah.
than the ones.
And one thing I definitely want to mention of why I really like this song, "Holding On to You," is because he kind of screams the line "Holding On to You," and then it's just kind of followed by like a la la la, thing.
Yeah.
It works so well because it's like you get bombarded by this screaming, and then it's just like happy, upbeat stuff, and then
Yeah.
you hear the screaming again. It works. It blends really well, and I
Yeah.
really like it. So, "Holding On to You," both number 7s.
Yeah.
Tied. I wonder if there's going to be another song that will get tied on. I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe.
So yeah.
Yeah. My number 6 is "Migraine."
I've got to say that I did not have that on the list. But it actually did come very close to being number 10. So it might be like a number 11 or 12 for me. Because it was one that I was considering putting on.
Migraine has been one of the songs that I go back to a lot for 21 Pilots. Like, if I'm trying to get someone into 21 Pilots, "Migraine" is usually the first song that I point to.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure why. I feel like it just blends kind of. I feel like that's kind of just who they are. Like, that just Migraine just feels like, if you want to know what they sound like, "Migraine" is a good song to listen to.
Right. I can definitely see that. I definitely agree with that. It's like one of those songs that's like, okay, this really portrays their style very well. So that's kind of like a good recommendation song.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I honestly kind of thought that they would be higher on your list because I know you really like it. So that's kind of surprised me actually.
Yeah.
So my number 6 is the opening off of the self debut, Implicit Demand for Proof.
That is a really good song.
I love this song.
Yeah.
The intro to the song is
Yeah.
awesome. It really draws you in.
When I was setting up, because I have just a playlist of 21 Pilots song on my Spotify. So like I thought I had put them in order as they released, but I put them in backwards. So like I couldn't listen to them. I couldn't listen to their albums from chronological order of release because of the way I had set it up. So like I was having like fidgeting with just stuff, and I had like clicked on the first song and then queued the other albums. So I played the first song off of 21 Pilots, and then it just started playing the other albums, and I was like, oh wait, no, that's not what I meant to do. So then I had to like fix it. So I actually listened to that song like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And I didn't get bothered by it. Like I was like,
yeah, it's really good.
This song, so it's fine. I don't care.
Yeah. It's just so weird, like hearing that song and then like stressed out right after it. You're just like, wait a minute, what? That's not the song that comes after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 6. Very solid song.
My next song is off of 21 Pilots. Taxi Cab. It's number 5.
Nice pick. That's honestly a shocking one. That's one of those songs it's like we didn't actually mention at all.
Yeah.
It's still good. It's still really good. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a shocker.
The end to that song, just kind of like the rap part, it feels more like a poem to me, and it's just beautiful. I love the ending to that song. It's another. I mean, I go back and listen to 21 Pilots quite a bit, but that's one of those songs that I'm just like, man, I want to go back and listen to that song just because it's so good.
Yeah. Nice pick. I like that. Number 5 for me is Neon Gravestones.
Ooh, nice.
Really love the message of it and everything, but just piano to it. That piano reminded me very much of the first album, so I really enjoyed that. And
that ending to that song gives me chills every time.
Yeah, but I really love how the choruses kind of goes back to how I was saying. There's all those choruses of Trench kind of reminds me of Wild World, where it's just like you want to hear more of it. It's like, okay, I want to hear the chorus at least one more time, please, and then it just ends, you know.
Yeah, that was one of those songs where I was just kind of had it on in the background, and I was like laying on my bed, and then I just tuned into it, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I just started like paying attention to the lyrics, and it just like resonated. And I was like, I need to hear the song again.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my number 5.
Cool. Okay, so for me, I struggled with 3 and 4. This is what I settled on, but it can change at any point. Okay. It might change tomorrow. Who knows? Number 4 is Chlorine.
Interesting. Good song.
I love that song so much. It's so good. From start to finish.
Yeah. Nice pick. My number 4 is Ode to Sleep.
Ooh. Cool. I like that. That's
great. We went into that song. Really good. So like just fantastic song. It was just so good. Yeah.
And then my number 3 that I really, really struggled putting, like, trying to decide which one I liked better. Neon Gravestones. I really was like, Neon Gravestones and Chlorine, I have a really hard time deciding which one I like better. And some days I like Chlorine better, and some days I like Neon Gravestones better. But today, or yesterday, or whenever, like, as I was putting this list together, I felt like I liked Neon Gravestones a little bit better than Chlorine.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Those songs are definitely different. So it is. I could definitely see the struggle of picking between those.
Mm-hmm.
My number 3 is the Pantaloon.
I'm actually surprised
Yes.
it's on top 10.
Yeah. I just really like the goofiness of it, you know? Like we said, it just that's the charm of the song. And then just the drums really nice. That's something we didn't really touch on is the drums.
Yeah.
They're great.
Oh, yeah. The drums are really good. I forget the name of the drummer. Josh.
Oh boy.
Josh. It's Josh. I know that. I can't remember his last name.
Okay.
He's
good.
He's a really good drummer. I've seen some videos of him just playing. He's really good.
Yeah. This was definitely a song that was like really kind of made me listen to the drums.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great hearing it. And I just really like the song. Really good. The Pantaloon, number 3.
But I will have to say, my 1 and 2 are also kind of flip-flop because at one point, my number 1 was my number 1, and at one point, my number 2 is my number 1.
So let's do something. Not with number 2, but let's try to guess each other's number 1s.
Okay.
So, just to have some fun. So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Addict with a Pen.
I knew that was going to be like up there. That was actually going to be my first pick for number 1. So now I'm kind of like second guessing myself.
Well,
I'm like,
I mean, you kind of got it technically because at one point it was my number 1, and sometimes it is still. I'll prefer it over my number 1.
Yeah.
But it just, I had a really hard time coming up with this top 10 list because there are so many 21 Pilots songs that I love so much that it was really hard putting it together, especially when it came down to the last 4.
Yeah. My number 2 is definitely a song that reminded me of kind of like the style of Bastille. And the number 2 for me is My Blood.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. The chorus this is definitely one of those songs that just gets stuck in my head all the time.
Yeah.
To the point that it's like I'm hearing it constantly in the back of my head at work, and then when I go home, I just like I gotta listen to it just one time at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. It's a great song.
So can you read me your 10 through 2 again, so that way I can kind of have an idea, and also so that way I can remember what I already said.
Okay, yeah, but first you need to read me your 10 through 2 because you're saying your number 1 first, and I want to try to guess it.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because the order we were doing.
So 10, The Judge. 9, Stressed Out. 8, Car Radio. 7, Holding On to You. 6, Migraine. 5, Taxicab. 4, Chlorine. 3, Neon Gravestones. 2, Addict with a Pen. Almost read number 1 without thinking.
So obviously we get one guess. So my guess for your number 1 Ode to Sleep.
It is in fact Ode to Sleep.
Yes. I was about to say Heathens as a joke, but I'm like, okay, we've all gone past the jokes. Okay, so let's just do serious. So, nice.
Ode to Sleep's my number one. But Addict with a Pen and Ode to Sleep are flip-flop for me.
Yeah.
They're very
Understandable.
different.
Oh
But
yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I really like kind of slow and emotional songs. Like, even when I was like younger, like I liked slower and emotional songs. And my brother and sister used to kind of like poke fun at me because they're like, "Why do you like the sad songs?" I was like, "I don't know. They're just nice.
They make you cry.
They make you feel something."
I like to cry because I'm emo. No.
Um,
So yeah,
so
that.
yeah,
Ode to Sleep.
Sleep is
I was thinking, I was like, it's got to be off Vessel, and he already
Yeah.
had like migraine and car radio, so I'm like, it's got to be Ode to Sleep, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna read off my 10 through 2, and you will get a guess at my number 1. Number
Okay.
10, Jumpsuit. 9, Addict with a Pen. 8, Bandito. 7, Holding On to You. 6, Implicit Demand for Proof. 5, Neon Gravestones. 4, Ode to Sleep. 3, The Pantaloon. And 2, My Blood. What is your guess?
I would say Nico and the Niners.
Kind of close off that album, but I'm gonna have to disappoint you there.
Dang.
Heathens. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, that's not off that album.
No. Okay, so my favorite 21 Pilot song is Chlorine.
Chlorine. Okay.
Chlorine.
Cool.
I love the chorus
Leave the
to it.
City was my second choice, actually.
Yeah. Dang it. That should have been on my top 10 list, honestly, because I really like that song. That one was accident. But yeah, Chlorine. I love how the intro.
I don't know why I didn't think that was going to be on your top 10 list.
Yeah. But I mean, I love Trench, but Chlorine is the one that I just keep coming back to. I love the chorus of it. Love how the intro starts, it's just kind of like slowly starts, and then the intro and then the chorus comes in, and it just fits so well, and I love it. Just great song.
Yeah.
My favorite 21 Pilot song. So yeah.
Yeah.
That was our top 10 21 Pilot songs.
Yeah.
It's always a treat because I love doing top 10s and top 5s because it's like you don't know what the other person's is,
Yeah.
I was looking forward to, well, I knew what your number 1 was after the fact. Honestly, my first pick for your number 1 before we even started was Migraine, but I was your number 6.
Man. I mean, looking at it, I was like, maybe I should put it higher, but then I looked at the other ones. It's like, no.
Yeah.
No, I think 6 is good for Migraine.
Yeah. So, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Talked
Thanks
about
for having me.
Distance Over Time, a Dream Theater. And we talked about 21 Pilots discography and gave a top 10. Yeah, thank you for being here. You had a good pick for this podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed them. I really wasn't entirely sure if you were going to like them or hate them. I felt like it was going to be a 50-50.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked your reaction to when I was given that story, and I was just like, and I was glad I did. And you're just like, really? Yeah.
Because I knew that, like, during that time, we, and when I say we, I mean mostly Ben, kind of overplayed them for you, at least Blurry Face.
Yeah.
So I was kind of, but I do remember, I think it was when I showed you Addict with a Pen, you were kind of like, you liked it better, and you were like, I might have to go back and listen to them. And I was like, you definitely should.
Yeah, and then
So
at that moment, I never did.
yeah, I figured you probably would like their other stuff better than Blurry Face, but I wasn't sure. So, but I'm glad that you really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. It was a treat.
Yeah.
So any closing thoughts?
Check out my YouTube channel at Film and Thespian, and my Twitch also at Film and Thespian.
Yep. Links will be in the description.
Yeah.
So
I talk mostly about nerd stuff, and mostly my YouTube channel is going to be centered around movies and stuff. Movies and acting and things, because I'm trying to be an actor. So if you're interested in that stuff, that's what my channel's about.
yeah. So thanks for being on this episode of the Metal Gladiator podcast. Thank you
Thanks
all
for having
for listening and ending it now. Thanks.
Go subscribe.
Go subscribe. Subscribe to both of us now. Thanks. Thanks for listening.